Thanks to CarMax for sponsoring a portion of this video.
Canyon carving, autocross, track days, racing, even off-roading? The Miata has long been the answer if you wanted a cheap performance car, but that could be coming to an end. Mazda announced plans to electrify every car they sell by 2030, including the beloved Miata. That's a problem because nearly all EVs have a few un-Miata-like things in common. They're heavy, they're expensive, and they're not suited for racetracks. But can electrification be made compatible with the cheap thrills we expect from the Miata? Or is the happiest sports car since the non-roll cage go-kart doomed to a sad end? Future of motorsports is hanging in the balance. Today, we're gonna see which way to tip the scales. Let's figure it out.
Thanks to CarMax for sponsoring a portion of this video. Buying a used car is not easy, especially when some of us can spend hours, days, even a month to make sure the car you're buying is the one you love. That's why CarMax created the Love Your Car Guarantee. Not only do you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, which allows you to return the car with up to 1,500 miles on it, but CarMax also offers 24-hour test drives, giving you a full day to decide if it's the right car for you before you buy. Cruise to the canyons, get lunch, drive it like it's yours, because CarMax knows that spending time behind the wheel will make you love your car, guaranteed. See what I did there? Love your car. Find your perfect car match today by checking out CarMax's Love Your Car Guarantee, which includes 24-hour test drives and a 30-day money-back guarantee. To learn more, start shopping at CarMax.com or talk to an associate in-store today. Now I'm gonna go drive this for the remaining 22 hours, 40 minutes, and 37 seconds. 35 seconds, 34 seconds. Thanks CarMax for sponsoring that portion of this video.
For 3 decades, the Mazda Miata has been the gateway sports car for amateur motorsports because of its low cost and its lightweight. It's accessible for new drivers and sustainable for experienced racers who want a lot of seat time without breaking the bank. When the Miata debuted 30 years ago, the average new car in the US weighed 3,400 pounds, about as much as a dozen baby elephants. But the Miata, it weighed just 2,200 pounds, 4 baby elephants less than your average car. Hey, do you like baby elephants? Well, if you do, you should like this video too. That really helps us out. Thank you very much. Every like we get, I'm gonna say a prayer for a baby elephant. The weight of a passenger vehicle now is around 4,200 pounds, twice as much as the Miata. But 30 years and 4 generations later, the Miata has gained just 150 pounds. 150 pounds, that's nothing. I know people who put on more than 150 pounds during summer semester. So on average, cars have increased in weight by about 25%, in large part due to more safety equipment, improved crash structures, and the addition of tech and luxury features. But that extra weight doesn't mean they've gotten slower. As cars have gotten heavier, manufacturers have compensated with more power, creating better power to weight ratios. In the past 3 decades, average horsepower has increased by 80%, meaning the power to weight ratio of modern cars is better than ever. The Miata has seen a more modest horsepower increase, just 56%, from 116 ponies to 181. The 1990 Miata's underwhelming power to weight ratio of 19 pounds for each horse is now 13 pounds per pony, far better than most modern cars. The original leisurely 0 to 60 time of 8.9 seconds has dropped to a brisk 5.7 seconds, taking the car from "it feels fast" to "it's actually fast." Of course, in a world where Teslas are breaking the 2-second barrier and luxury SUVs and even Honda Accords can get to 60 in 5.7 seconds, the Miata might not seem all that fast. But power to weight ratio is only one part of the equation. Well, I guess 2 parts if it's power and weight. It's 2 parts of the equation. The more you know. Ding, 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 ding. How a car handles is where you really feel the weight of any car, because the heavier an object is, the more it resists changing direction. We did an entire episode about how to engineer a driver's car, and making it lightweight is a major tenet. Colin Chapman, founder of Lotus, famously said that to go fast at a racetrack, you have to simplify and add lightness. Should I do a different voice? Simplify and add lightness, right? Even though adding more power makes you faster on the straights, subtracting weight makes you faster everywhere. Modeled after lightweight British roadsters, the Miata has followed that same design philosophy, which is why it's so at home on the track. Once things get racy, it takes little effort for the lightweight Miata to leave chunky modern cars behind. Has my catfish ever been passed by a Miata on the track? No, never. Yes, it has. But possibly the biggest reason why the Miata is so popular for amateur racing is the price. In 1990, a brand new Miata cost just $13,800. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $28,600 today. A brand new Miata right now sets you back even less, just $26,800. With a better power to weight ratio than the original, that means the current Miata is a better value than it's ever been. Kind of like the Donut Underground. You should check it out. Hit that join button down below. But you should probably go and also get a new Miata too, because Mazda might just be about to ruin it forever. In just a few years, the Miata is going electric. Don't panic, my worldly friends, because we haven't seen the final internal combustion Miata just yet. The 5th generation is expected to debut for 2023, although that's likely to be a heavily revised version of the current car, not a complete new one. The 2030 electrified model could still have some form of combustion too. Mazda hasn't said whether the car will be fully electric or hybrid. That probably hasn't been decided yet, but in car development terms, 2030 is just around the corner. On average, new cars take 72 months to develop, and big decisions like what powertrain to use happen early on in that process. Mazda will likely reach a decision about the 2030 Miata soon, but best guess it'll be full electric. Having two power sources, one gas and one electric, like a hybrid, is complicated and expensive to develop and manufacture. Since hybrid vehicles are likely going away with the rest of internal combustion, it makes sense that Mazda would just commit to a fully electric Miata. But that creates some problems because current EVs have some decidedly un-Miata characteristics. They're heavy, they're expensive, and they are not built for racetracks. Electric cars are honkers, but it's not because of their motors. Those are actually lighter than an equivalent internal combustion engine. The problem is the batteries. They're the single heaviest component in an EV and can weigh as much as 1,200 pounds. There aren't many cars available in both gasoline and electric versions to see how much difference electrification makes for a single model, but the EV version of the Ford F-150 weighs 1,600 pounds more than its gasoline equivalent. Because electric motors are very good at making power, for an application like an F-150, that extra weight doesn't matter all that much. But in a sports car, extra weight is a huge problem for cornering and slowing down. Batteries don't just present a weight problem. They're the most expensive part of an EV too, around 30% of the total cost to manufacture it. The 80.5 kilowatt hour battery pack in a long-range Tesla Model Y is estimated to cost around 9,250 bones. That high price is because batteries contain expensive metals like cobalt, nickel, lithium, and manganese, which need to be mined and processed and converted into high purity versions suitable for long-lasting batteries. The weight and cost of batteries doesn't necessarily mean that there can never be an electric sports car though. We've already seen that EVs can have neck-snapping acceleration, and that is definitely a good thing on a racetrack. Electric cars often have their batteries mounted in the floor, so weight is low in between the wheels, which is good for handling. Batteries are getting more efficient, so weights are going to be decreasing, and they're even getting cheaper. The cost per kilowatt hour of a battery has dropped from over $1,000 in 2010 to $137 in 2020. That's how technology works, guys. It's expensive at first, and then it's cheap. So even though the first Tesla Model S didn't have a great reputation on track, the Model 3 has become a bit of a sensation, appearing regularly at track days around the country. Although it's still not as common or as cheap as a Miata, EVs are becoming a serious option for some enthusiasts. But the increasing number of EVs at racetracks creates some new problems for on-track safety. On a racetrack, accidents happen, man. They suck, but they happen. And when they do, there are well-trained crews ready to respond, but that is a dangerous job. Tickle. Not only are there fast-moving vehicles to avoid, there are plenty of hazardous and flammable materials too. EVs are no more likely than any other car to have an incident on a track. And you might think because they don't use gasoline, EVs would present less of a hazard to safety crews. But that's really not the case. The dangers that EVs present are just different. One concern for safety crews is electrical discharge. Under ordinary circumstances, the batteries and charging system of an EV are shielded so that no one can come in contact with any part that's dangerous. cars. But in a collision, the structures and materials protecting people from electrical discharge can become damaged. This becomes a bigger concern once fire is involved. Car fires are something track safety crews have to be prepared to deal with, and fires often have nothing to do with gasoline. Hot parts like brakes and electric motors can ignite plastic or rubber parts of the car, or even start fires in dry grass if a car runs off the track. In an EV, the battery itself can catch on fire too. Because water conducts electricity, using it to extinguish a battery fire can cause unsafe electrical discharge. Not only that, water isn't very good at putting out battery fires. It can take 10 times as much water, and batteries can even reignite after visible signs of a fire are gone. So EVs aren't necessarily well suited for racetracks, but because they're coming anyway, tracks and safety crews are learning and adapting just like the rest of the world. EVs may already be commonplace at track days by the time an electric Miata hits the market, but Miatas are also used for racing, and that presents a problem. The most popular and most expensive EV racing series is Formula E, and since 2014, the series has been racing purpose-built electric cars that weigh just 1,800 pounds. Every Formula E race is only 45 minutes long, so you'd think that having enough of a charge to run an entire race would be no big deal, right? But in April 2021 at the Valencia E-Prix, nearly half of the cars ran out of electricity before the race was over. With gasoline-powered cars, you can make a quick pit stop for enough fuel to finish the race. With EVs, there's no real equivalent to the late race splash and dash. The cars in Formula E are lightweight, purpose-built race cars. Racing Miatas are road cars adapted for racing, and that means a good one, like the cars used in the Mazda MX-5 Global Cup Series, can still weigh more than 2,300 pounds. More weight means more electricity is needed over the same race distance, which means more battery, which means more weight, and so on and so forth. But the MX-5 Global Cup races, like Formula E, are only 45 minutes long. The real problem of an electric Miata for amateur racers is that Miatas have long been used for endurance races. Multi-day events like the 24 Hours of Le Mans, Lucky Dog, and Champ Car require cars to be on track for 8 hours a day or more. With no way to quickly add electricity, it's unclear how an EV could ever be competitive in these series. But everyone knows EVs are coming to racing eventually, and they're not unwelcome. The organizers of the 24 Hours of Le Mans have even offered a $50,000 prize to the first EV team to take a win. So we probably shouldn't give up on Miatas once the EV versions arrive. Tracks and race series are already preparing for EVs, and batteries are getting lighter and cheaper every single day. With those changes, it may be possible to make an EV Miata that's as good as its combustion forefathers. But the real proof that it's possible to make a lightweight electric sports car is because it's already been done. The original 2011 Tesla Roadster was just 2,800 pounds, it made 288 horsepower, and it had a 244-mile range. The problem with that car was it cost $100,000, so they only sold about 2,500 of them. And that's the scariest part. An EV Miata might simply be too expensive, but the technology is getting cheaper and better every day, and if Mazda commits to building and selling enough units, we could potentially see an EV Miata around 30 grand in 2030. If anyone is going to make the low-cost electric sports car work, it's gonna be Mazda. Freaking got faith in those guys. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Miata is doomed? We're not gonna have that fun zippy car anymore? Or do you think it's gonna be better? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of B2B. Follow us here on Instagram at Donut Media. We got a lot of funny memes on our page. We got a whole guy now who's just working the memes. We're just a meme page now. So go follow us on Instagram. Follow me while you're on Instagram there too. Check me out at Jeremiah Burton. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of B2B. Until next week, bye for now.